We're going to cover 5-6, which is solving equations containing decimals. This is pretty easy to do. Lots of calculator assistance. We like that. Somehow on the back of your notes, page 40 did not print. So I have put a PDF of the final page, page 40, on Canvas under class resources, and it says 5.6 notes last page. So you might print that off. It has the last 4 problems that somehow I didn't get on the back of your notes, although I had them. I guess I didn't run it through the copier. I'm not sure. Anyway, you can stop the video, print that off, because we have 4 problems, and then we'll be doing the ones on the last page. So if you need to stop the video and run off the last page, that's fine. Or you can work through this and turn it off and get the last page, or just get the last page from the video. Whatever you want to do is fine. So we're solving equations, and we're first going to do a couple problems where we are applying the addition and subtraction properties of equality, which says that you can add the same thing to both sides and not disturb the equality, or you can subtract the same thing from both sides and not disturb the equality. So when we look at this problem, we want x is equal in the end, and this is what's standing in our way. So they've added 3 7/10, so we're going to subtract 3 7/10 from both sides. So adding it, subtracting it gives us 0. So now we're left with x, and if we have 5 42/100, subtract 3 7/10, you can add that 0 if you feel like it, and we would have 1 72/100. You can use your calculator to do that if you want. This 0 you can add or not add, that's up to you. This next one, what we want is y equals, and this is what's standing in our way. So to make that 0, we can add 6 1/10 to both sides. Line up the decimal points. This is like if we had written it this way. So you can see this is pretty easy to see that you would add 6 1/10. That would make that 0, which is y. So we're going to add 6 1/10 to both sides. So these are gone, and y is equal to, we've got a little more than 35 negatives and only a little more than 6 positives. So we're going to end up with negatives. 29 3/10 negative. Negative 29 3/10. So hopefully you know how to do that. You can use your calculator to assist you in that. Always in the algebra part, we don't want to get hung up on the arithmetic. Instead, we want to focus on the algebra. This is what I need. When it says show your work, this is the work that I want. You don't need to show me adding these two together. I'm just interested in the fact that you're adding it to both sides. That's the part I want to see. So next, we're applying the multiplication and division properties of equality, which says you can multiply both sides by the same number or divide both sides by the same number and not disturb the equality of it. We have a little typing error. I don't know who typed this. It might have been me. That 1 should be an x. So they've divided x by 10 2/10. So we're going to undo that by multiplying both sides times 10 2/10. So those are equal to 1x. And on this side, we have a negative times a positive, which is a negative. And we can multiply those on our calculator. And we end up with negative 45 9/10. On this one, they've multiplied x times negative 4.2. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 4.2. Those are equal to 1, so we have 1x, and on this side, we know this is going to be positive because the signs are the same. So I'm going to divide 25 and 2/10 by 4 and 2/10. I'm doing this on my calculator, and I come up with x equals 6. Now for page 40, which most of you probably don't have in your packet, so you can either copy these off as we go, stop it and copy it, or print off the 5.6 notes last page from the class resources. So these are going to be involving multiple steps, and we've talked a lot about parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division left to right, addition and subtraction left to right. And we've also talked about how when you wrap a present, you would put the ribbon on, put it in the box, put the paper on, tie the ribbon, and so forth. When you're unwrapping, and that's what we're doing here, we want to find out what y is equal to. We're going to start with taking off the ribbon, taking off the paper, opening the box, digging out the present. So first we're going to get rid of anything that's added or subtracted. So this is subtracted. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 3 85/100 to both sides. So this is negative and this is positive, so those equal 0. So now we have 2 4/10 y is equal to 12 48/100. So now this is like what's on the other page. This is multiplied by y, so we're going to divide both sides by 2 4/10. These are equal to 1y. And on this side, we have 12 48/100 divided by 2 4/10. And I'm using my calculator. And y is equal to 5 2/10. Here's the next one. This is what we have to get rid of. So they've subtracted 14 4/10, so we're going to add 14 4/10 to both sides. So those are equal to 0. So we have 5 8/10 x is equal to 69 6/10. So now in order to get our answer, x, whatever x is equal, they've multiplied x by 5 8/10, so we're going to divide both sides by 5 8/10. So that's 1x, and we're going to divide 69 6/10 by 5 8/10. I'm just using my calculator, and I get x is equal to 12. These are real happy numbers. They have ends, and that's a sign that you've probably maybe solved it correctly. If you had something with 5 and 21789322589, chances are, unless it said round to the nearest tenth or the nearest hundredth, something's probably wrong. So go back and check what you've done, put it back in your calculator. I tend to have more trouble putting things in my calculator correctly than I do with my arithmetic because I'm relying on this. Okay. Next, we have a couple of problems, and they have parentheses with an addition problem, and we know that we're going to use the distributive property to clear those parentheses. So this we have 3/10 times x, or 3/100 times x, plus 3/100 times 4 would be 12/100. And this side, we're good to go with 100x plus 2 8/10. So the next step would be to combine like terms on each side, but we don't have any like terms on either side. So we're good now to move the constants to one side and the variables to the other. So I'm going to move this variable term to the other side by subtracting 100x from both sides. So these are gone, that's 0. And this would be 200x plus 1200 equals 2 8/10. So now all the x's are over here. Let's get rid of this. They've added 1200s. We're going to subtract 1200s from both sides, lining up the decimal points. I'm going to fill that in. These are gone, and we're left with 200x, and we have more positives, and we need to find out how many more positives, so we're going to subtract. 10 minus 2 would be 8, 7 minus 1 would be 6, 2 minus nothing would be 2. You can do that on your calculator, you can do it on paper, whichever is best for you. Now, we want to find 1x. They've multiplied by 200, so we're going to divide both sides by 200s. So that's 1x, and we're going to divide 2 6/800 divided by 200, and we get 134. So these are tiny, and there's a lot of them in this number, 134 as a matter of fact. Okay, let's go to the next, this is the last problem in Unit 2. So we're going to use the distributive property. So 500 times x would be 500 x plus 500 times 6 would be 30 or your calculator will just say 3/10, which is fine. This side's all done for us already. And now we don't have any like terms on either side, so we're going to get the x's on one side, the constants on the other. So I'm going to move this out of there. So I'm going to subtract 200x from both sides. So these are gone. That's equal to 0. And this would be 300x plus 30 is equal to 1800. So now I'm going to get the get this constant out of there. So it's been added, so I'm going to subtract from both sides. So those are gone. And I have 300x is equal to, do I have more negatives or positives? More negatives. And how many more? If we wanted to set these up, we'd probably do it this way. And we have 1200s negative. And you can do this on your calculator. You can key in 1800s minus 300s, or 3/10 or 30 and we end up with negative 1200. So you can check your arithmetic or just do it on your calculator. Now, x is multiplied by 300, so we're going to divide both sides by 300s. That's 1x. This is going to be negative. I'm just going to put this in my calculator. Negative 1200 divided by 300 is equal to negative 4. Signs are different, so it's going to be negative. And there's 4 of these in that. All right. So I don't know, this didn't print off on the copy that I printed off, but these are just the rules that we've gone over before. Clearing fractions, we don't have fractions. Our book talks about clearing decimals, multiplying by 10 or 100 or 1,000 every term in the equation, but I don't think we need to when we have our trusty little calculators here. Clear parentheses using the distributive property, which we did here and here. Compare the terms on each side of the equation, combine like terms, and we didn't have any in any of these problems. And then use the addition and subtraction properties of equality to isolate the variables. So we're going to have the variables on one side, and we're going to have the constants on the other. We're going to use multiplication or division property of equality to make the coefficient of the variable term 1, and that's what we did. We had a coefficient, so we divided both sides. So, you know, this is what I want to see. I want to see that you've done this. I want to see that you've done this. I want to see that you've done this. And I want to see that you have the right answer.